Another reason why I left the church, religion, Christianity, and fundamentalism is that church supports cis-straight school agenda. So let's start talking about how church's doctrine affects how children experience secular worldview. So many churches, like the Girls Rock Glasgow, a program that helps girls learn about the music industry, have been facing a funding cut. So we previously spoken about how church supports the heterosexual default agenda, but today we're going to learn how churches support the heterosexual default agenda in school. So based on the heterosexual agenda, this is the reason why churches support is for a first reason, biblical interpretation. Many conservative Christian denominations interpret the Bible as defining marriage and sexual relationships as exclusively heterosexual. They believe that the homosexual relationships are sinful and contrary to God's will. 2. Traditional family values. These churches emphasize what they consider traditional family values, which center on the union between one man and one woman. 3. Parental rights and religious freedom. Some Christian parents and organizations believe they have the right to raise their children according to their faith and values, include beliefs about sexuality. They may also advocate for opt-out policies for curriculum that contradicts these beliefs. 4. Influence on education. Some religious groups, churches, and private families actively promote their views on sexuality and marriage in the educational sphere, sometimes by advocating for curricula that aligns with their beliefs or opposing curriculum they view as promoting views contrary to their faith. One of the biggest promotions is abstinence-only sex. Now, if you Google abstinence-only sex, you realize that the states that primarily focus on abstinence only, or if they do teach many different ways to perform sex, most, like 98% of all the red states in the lower South, focus or adhere to abstinence only. States like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alaska, with the highest syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV, they're leaning toward abstinence-only education. Teaching kids and young adults that the only acceptable social behavior related to family, children, and relationships is through heterosexual marriage or a heterosexual lifestyle. Now, there's nothing wrong with teaching people about the different types of sexual orientation. The problem is when this is the only one spoken about positively or is the only one that is held up as the standard. Growing up in 7 churches in 4 denominations, I heard a lot about the positivities of heterosexual marriage. Now, they never use the word heterosexual because that would imply there are people that aren't. But they always said biblical marriage, biblical family values. And in the churches I've been in, Baptist, Calvinist, fundamentalist, they worship marriage. It is an idol. If you've been lucky to be in a fundamentalist or Baptist church where it is not an idol, you are lucky. But if you're in any church that talks or preaches about marriage, the Bible makes it very clear. There is only one type of marriage that is acceptable to Christians, even though if you read the Old Testament, these paragons of Jewish virtue had many wives. Biblical marriage is not between a man and a woman. It's between one man and up to 1,000 wives, concubines, mistresses, or slaves. Anyone who thinks biblical marriage is between one man and one woman hasn't really read their Bible. Biblical history records heterosexual couples within polygamy. I don't remember anywhere in the Bible that condemns multiple marriages, even though I'm not in favor of polygamy. I care more about consent, respect, and people's mental health. As long as what you're doing is legal, permissible, and everyone consents and enthusiastically enjoys themselves, I can't say it's wrong. The issue is, it's not about anyone teaching the heterosexual lifestyle. It's that it's the only positively represented lifestyle, even though we know it's not a lifestyle. It's the way your brain is wired. It's the way your body interprets every kind of stimuli. I can't change what I'm attracted to any more than anyone else can. I mean, you can deny it, you can try to pray it away, you can lie to yourself. You can't change who you are. You can choose if you want to act on it. I'm straight and heterosexual. I choose not to act on it behavioral-wise because I don't need a partner. I've decided to be single. But see, when fundamentalists worship marriage, I believe, as more of an idol than any other thing. Virginity, purity, marriage, children are the idols of Christianity. And nobody talks about this. You look at the people in positions of authority, they're all married, especially in senior leadership. If you're lucky to have an unmarried teacher, they're usually in junior leadership. They're usually in charge of children. Very few, I have never in 7 churches met an unmarried pastor or an unmarried elder. I mean, the closest is maybe a widower, but I don't remember any of those. You have to be married to be a senior leader or a teacher of men. There were no exceptions in the churches I went to. And I'm not saying marriage is a bad thing. I'm saying it's not inherently a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's a choice. You can choose to be married. You can choose to be divorced. You can choose to be single. You can't choose what is the most attractive to you. That's the issue. And it's not really an issue. It's an issue by how people who are fundamentalists react to what they perceive as a problem, even though it's not a problem at all. If fundamentalists didn't hold up the idol of marriage, sex, virginity, purity, children, and family, we wouldn't have what I call the homophobic, queerphobic, and transphobic environment we have now. If we valued people not for their marital status or their body count, but instead valued people based on behavior, integrity, morals, and consistency, we would have a much better society. And in society, there is treatment, good, bad, or better, depending on your marital status. You look at people in positions of authority, they're usually married. I would say 98% of the time they're married in the fundamentalist churches I've been to. And not only do fundamentalists worship marriage and make it an idol, they shame, devalue, and dehumanize people who maybe don't have the marriage they deem as acceptable. maybe they don't have any relationship or they don't desire a relationship. We talked about in earlier episodes about asexual or ace people that make up approximately 1% of the world's population. That's approximately 82 million people on this planet are asexual. And most people think asexual people just don't want to get married or have sex at all. But that's just one of the tiny subgroups within asexuality. And we went over all the different types. And if you aren't aware that there are a lot of, I counted at least 50 on Google. But some people do not struggle with the Christian lust problem, even though it's not a problem. A lot of people out there, about 82 million people, don't desire sex, relationships, or traditional compatibility the way that churches believe, demand, and expect people to act out. There are a lot of asexual people that want a relationship without